Hi, this is Ann Moore Sparks with Chalk Talk, and thank you so much for tuning in. This is part 3 of our accreditation series, and if you remember, part 1 we talked about where we are as a division. Part 2 was sort of a deeper dive into the data behind accreditation, and today with part 3, I'm really excited to be here with Miss Kristin Mills. She is a first grade teacher here at GLH Johnson, and we're going to talk about some of the strategies that she's using surrounding literacy and reading and small group instruction. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. So I'm just going to dive in and ask some questions, and I'll hand the mic over to you. But our first question is, how has the district's focus on literacy changed your instruction this year?
So our instruction this year is focused specifically on small group instruction. So we may do a 10 to 15 minute whole group comprehension skill introduction, but then all of our literacy focus is focused in the small group instruction and differentiated based on the student's level where they are. So we used several screening tools to figure out exactly where they are and place them accordingly in their groups.
That's great for me, just so I'm understanding. So obviously you have a classroom of, let's just say, 15 kids, and I don't know what it is. So obviously you have different reading levels, right? So expand a little bit how you assess and how those small group instruction, how that group works, that dynamic works, and that there's only one of you, right? So how do you do that?
So we used the DSA, which is a spelling assessment. So we gave that to each one of our students. And basically we looked at how many words our kids got correct. And then we dove deeper into what spelling patterns are they ready for? So are they using but confusing their short vowels? Are they ready for silent E? Are they doing features within words? Are they trying to use blends and digraphs? So that's how we split our students up. So we have I have 4 groups in particular. One of my groups is still working with beginning and ending sounds. So they are my lower group. At the beginning of the year, they were still working on letter names and sounds, and they've already progressed to beginning letters and sounds. And then my middle groups are both focused on short vowels, and then my upper group is focused on spelling patterns within words. But then we also used a tool called the TAPA, which is assessing their phonological awareness and their phonemic awareness, basically where are the holes? Do they understand how to rhyme? Do they understand syllables and how to blend them and segment them? And with that tool, we are able to focus our instruction even further in our group to what do they need? What holes do they have that can be filled with our specific strategies?
That's wonderful. I heard Everett Johnson at Schoolfield one time say, so each child has their own prescription, basically. You write out a prescription per child that is really based on their needs at the time. That's wonderful. How important is literacy instruction in first grade? And I want to expand on that since we're passing the microphone back and forth. So how important is literacy in the first grade? And what does it mean setting up our kids for success in second and third grade? And what are some of the things that you're seeing with this new strategy? Is it working, basically?
So literacy instruction is the foundation. In first grade, kindergarten and first grade specifically, they have, spelling and reading is a developmental process. And so the students have to progress, through each of the stages. And so therefore we have to identify where they are and start there. So if we're not doing that in kindergarten and first grade, then we're setting our students up for failure. We have got to figure out exactly where they're reading, exactly what they're missing, and we have got to use whatever strategies that we have in order to fill those holes.
That's wonderful. And I know this is just the first year, am I correct,
Yes.
on this focus on small group instruction. What are you seeing from the kids' perspective? You think they're progressing nicely, or are there areas for improvement?
I mean, we've seen tremendous growth already. I've readjusted my groups 3 times already because I've had to move students ahead further. I've had to move a couple back, but that's the flexibility in this program is that it's all based on their need. So if we're determining, if I'm moving too quickly, I can pull back, or I can move a student where they need to be. But our strategies are specifically focused on where they are at that moment, and really honing in on what they have weaknesses in and building those weaknesses into strengths. So I would anticipate, if we don't see huge improvements this year, in the years to come, with everybody using this program, well, it's not a program, if everybody using these strategies, we're going to see tremendous growth in our SOL scores.
Well, that's certainly encouraging, and I think one of the things that we all need to understand is growth is incremental, right? We're not going to go from here to here overnight, but growth is a huge component of that, and that is extremely encouraging. And from a personal level, I have to tell you, I've always been in awe and so respectful of teachers who have the ability to customize these strategies, but not only doing that, teach different groups at different levels, right? So you have to manipulate that. So thank you for what you do. That's really important. What professional development have you attended this year to increase your literacy knowledge and strategies this school year?
So we had a full one-day reading instruction with Beth Estill at the beginning of August, I think right during professional development. And then I was part of a team of 39 that went to Virginia Beach, and we were able to watch her teachers teach these specific strategies. We were able to sit down in small groups with them. We were able to watch their team meetings and how they planned together, and basically just see what their students were doing, and how their teachers were incorporating. A lot of the questions that we may have had, at least personally for me, were answered by going and just seeing the program. And they've only been doing these strategies for 2 years. She has moved into this new school and has, began these strategies there for only 2 years. And so just to see where we are at the beginning and to see where her teachers are and where we can be, right. And the student progress there is just amazing.
Yeah. For those of you who may not know, but Beth Estill, she's a nationally recognized, would you call her a literacy teacher or reading teacher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Reading specialist, reading queen.
Right. She's the Grand Poohbah of reading and literacy, but she's out of Virginia Beach, and she's really doing some really creative and interesting things. And quite honestly, I think that she's been a teacher for 25 years or more,
Yes.
and realized that the way she was teaching was not in the best interest of the kids. So she's revamped this, and she's taking her program all over the country. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about some of the new things you learned under her wing and how you have tweaked your own instruction.
So again, with small group instruction, I've done guided math where we've used manipulatives in the math classroom and at the math small group table, but her strategies are taking manipulatives into the reading small group table. So it has drastically changed the way I teach reading. The kids are doing anything from phoneme push-its where they're, pushing chips to say the individual sounds and words. They're using chunk blend cards to learn how to see those chunks in the words. They're breaking apart words with phoneme segmentation boards. I mean, we have all these tools now available to really dive into those strategies and really help them understand phonics and the phonemic awareness and how to become better readers and spellers.
That's wonderful. My last question, maybe, I'm sure I'll come up with another one. Have you seen a difference in student performance? And I think you touched on that a little bit. And I know that you have tests throughout the year, but have you seen a difference in student performance based on the new reading strategies and focus? Or it can be qualitative too, so.
Right. Yes, I've definitely seen, again, I've regrouped my students a few times already, but I'm super excited to test in PALS. I cannot wait for that next round of PALS testing in January. But specifically with a couple students, that were reading at a pre-primer level before when they took PALS, that are now reading at a first grade level already. I did have one student who began the year knowing only 18 letters and sounds, and he is now reading CVC words, short vowel words. So it just the progress, and to see his little face when he can look at a word and sound it out is just awesome. And that's why I do what I do. So.
Exactly. I'm sure that's a proud moment for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, one last question. I told you I would probably think of another one, right? But for those parents out there who want to participate, what are some things that parents can do to assist or to keep their children, students engaged in the reading process after they leave for the school day?
So specifically, just to read anything. Read the menu when you go to the restaurant. Read, if you're at the doctor's, read the signs to them at the doctor's office. Talk vocabulary, build vocabulary. Ask questions about their day, and then expand on, that. Sound out words together. Break words apart together. What sounds do you hear in the word cat? Specific things like that, but specifically just reading. Reading is everything.
Yes. Well, I so thank you for being here today in your lovely classroom, and thanks for the adult chairs.
Of course. Yes, those are always helpful.
I don't think my knees can get out of the students' chairs, but I hope the community really enjoyed this episode, because I think it's really important that you understand what it means to read and how we're changing our strategies and what it looks like in a classroom and what small group instruction looks like. So thank you again for joining us, and you can always check us out on danvillepublicschools.org, which is our website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you for tuning in.